this is a lesson on tremolo for classical guitar and tremolo exercises. And I'm using exercises from my new technique book. It's about 120 pages long, has lots of other exercises in it, and there's a link for that underneath the video, but feel free to watch the video for free. Now the first thing I'm going to say is, before you tackle tremolo, I've often noticed that students would love to have this blazing fast tremolo and they would love to be able to play tremolo really well, but sometimes their scales and their arpeggios are not blazing fast and are not played well. So it's really hard to play a tremolo piece or a tremolo very efficiently if your scales and arpeggios are not in order. So my first piece of advice, if you want to improve your tremolo, practice your arpeggios and practice your scales. There's lots of open string exercises in my book. At the beginning, there's 100 of them, and then the Giuliani 120 exercises. So lots of different exercises to teach your fingers finger independence and finger dexterity. Even scales can help. Like if you're not good at playing MA scales, then maybe you don't have the control you need over those fingers to play tremolo. So sometimes by practicing our scales, with all the different fingerings, we gain lots of finger independence, and that allows us to play tremolo. So I'm going to go through a whole bunch of tremolo exercises, but my recommendation first is make sure your scales and your basic arpeggios and all the different combinations are in working order, because you really can't expect to do one thing well when other things are lacking. It's all about having control over these fingers. It's kind of an intermediate to advanced technique, tremolo. So make sure that you've worked up a foundation of technique at the beginner and early intermediate level before attempting to play tremolo, especially if you're aiming for like a blazing fast tremolo. So we'll go over some exercises, and these exercises are not tremolo pieces. They're just exercises that I think will help your tremolo. So they are correction exercises, things that will help correct a poorly played tremolo. Or at least a tremolo that needs improvement, which, I think we all could use that. I know I can, and I think that all of my students will benefit from that as well. We can always get better. So the first exercise is playing tremolo on a single string with staccato. The reason we're going to try it on a single string is that, to be honest, it's harder. You need to be really accurate when you're playing on a single string. It's tough to be very precise and accurate. Also, if we're going to play staccato, it'll help a lot. So we're going to go to the second string, the B string. We're going to play very slowly, and we're going to play staccato by placing the next finger, the next available finger on the string early to stop the sound. This will train your finger to be accurate, because it'll be on the string that it's supposed to play before it plays it. It'll also make sure that it's in place before it has to play, which is great for speed work. And again, just accuracy. So go slowly, don't go fast. And then we're going to start accenting different fingers to create a balance in our right hand. Feel free to put the metronome on. If you put the metronome on, you can put it to the quarter note. Sorry. Or you could put it to the eighth note. Or you could put it to the 16th note. I'm just arbitrarily picking speeds, but... So, using the metronome on various different rhythmic accents will just make sure that you're evening out your tremolo. You can even try this exercise where you put the metronome on and you go thumb, M, and then put the other fingers in, so that you're just focusing on P and M, for example. But let's go through the accenting of different fingers to balance out the hand. I'll turn the metronome off for now because it's annoying in a long video. So the first one we'll accent is the thumb. It's easy. The thumb is always easy to accent. Still staccato. Then we're going to accent the A finger. It's just good to be able to accent the different fingers. Accent the M finger. You have to remember to also maintain your staccato. I was a little loose there at the beginning, so I had to clean it up as I went. So staccato and the accent. And then accent the I finger. I would just do free strokes the whole time. You could try and accent a rest stroke on the accent, but I wouldn't even worry about it too much. First thing you want to do is just get that in order, use a metronome, be able to accent the different fingers. That will create some control and accuracy in your right hand, and also just trained for accuracy and speed, as I talked about. Now the next exercise is taking that single string tremolo and turning it into a more traditional. And we're going to use lots of different finger patterns. It might seem counterintuitive to use different finger patterns besides P, A, M, I, but it actually, again, we want to train the fingers to be accurate and train them to have finger independence. So we're going to use various different fingerings. The first one, though, is P, I, M, A, so a backwards tremolo, essentially. Or, I mean, some people prefer this pattern for tremolo, and that's totally fine, too. So first we'll play it on a single string. No more staccato, really, just do legato. It's good to switch between the two. You can speed it up if you want. But just practice going from that single string to the fifth string bass. It'll really improve your accuracy. The next pattern is P-I-A-M. And you might find some of these combinations kind of tricky, doing different combinations of right hand fingering. But I think, again, it's just really important that you even out all the combinations so you have control over your fingers. So there's a whole bunch of combinations there. I'm not going to play them right now because you can just read them out of the book. It's all the combinations. P, M-A-I, or P-M-I-A, or P-A-I-M, and then finally the traditional P-A-M-I. So you can try out all of those different patterns to gain control over your fingers. The next one is a moving thumb. So tremolo with moving thumb. This will help just train your thumb to be a little bit more accurate while doing the tremolo texture. And then the repeat. Now, I recommend that you practice very slowly with the metronome again. Feel free to practice like this slowly. But evenly. It's all about playing evenly. Don't worry about speed at all. Speed is fine. Oops. Or even faster. But you know what? Playing fast doesn't actually train your fingers to do much. It's interesting practice maybe, but it doesn't train them to be even or controlled. Go slowly, play with the metronome, and that'll improve your fingers, right? So tremolo now, the next exercise is tremolo with moving fingers. So this time we're going to keep the thumb in one place and let the fingers move down through the strings, which happens in tremolo pieces all the time. And then the repeat. So again, just good practice for contracting the fingers in towards the thumb. The final exercise there on this page is tremolo contraction and expansion. We're just combining the last two exercises into an amalgamation of the two. So we're going to play, and then our thumb is going to move up, and then our fingers are going to move in, then our thumb is going to move in, then our fingers are going to move in, then we're going to be on one string, and then we'll slowly work our way out. And then it repeats, and you can do it on a loop. So that's an important exercise. It can be tricky at higher speeds, so just play it slowly at first. Tremolo with rhythmic variations. This is in pretty much every technique book. It's just to get to kind of correct a lopsided tremolo. So it's a great idea to do. And I've done the same thing with a single string first, and then a single string with the bass, just to improve your accuracy. So the first one is a speed burst between thumb and the A finger. That'll help just make sure that those two fingers, there's not a delay between them. So you want to be comfortable having a little bit of speed between those fingers. It can help if you usually have a delay between those two fingers. The next one is a speed burst between A and M. The next one between M and I. Sorry, single string first. Then dotted eighth note followed by a 16th. I really like that one because a delay often occurs between the I finger and the thumb, but that puts the fast rhythm between the I finger and the thumb, so it can help correct that issue of delay between the I finger and the thumb. You can do the reverse too. Again, great for delays between the thumb and the A finger. Now, improving the tremolo with dyads. This is a great way, again, if you have a delay between your thumb and your A finger, try playing your tremolo as a dyad in triplets. That'll train your A finger to go down at the same time as your thumb, which when you switch to regular tremolo, might encourage that finger to be ready a little bit sooner. So I think that's really important. So we're going to do that triplet dyad followed by a traditional tremolo. You might want to get the metronome out just to make sure your triplets and 16th notes are nice and even. You could also do a similar exercise between other finger groups. So I and P, for example. The final exercise is over preparation tremolo exercise. This is a weird exercise where we're going to mute the strings continuously by placing the next finger down. So when I'm playing with the thumb, I'm going to mute with A. When I'm playing with A, I'm going to mute with M. When I'm playing with M, I'm going to mute with I. When I'm playing with I, I'm going to mute with thumb. Do you remember when we were doing staccato? This is the same idea, but taken much further, to an extreme, of course. It's not a joke, but it's to an extreme, right? can't hear anything because you're over preparing so much. It's tough to do, but it's a really good practice because getting your finger into place before it has to play, it's hard to talk and do this, but getting your finger into place before it has to play will ensure that it's accurate. And for speed wise, like, you want your finger there before it has to play so it's fast. Now if I let go of the muting a little bit, I'll just get notes, right? But if I go back to muting, you can get really comfortable doing that. And I think, again, it's an extreme version of an exercise, but it might help with accuracy just a little bit. So I hope you enjoyed that tremolo lesson. Those are just some exercises to possibly correct your tremolo and to gain independence. But again, I can't stress enough, practice your scales with all the different finger combos. Practice your arpeggio patterns. If you can do all of those things really well at high speeds, then you can play your tremolo probably without much practice. You just need control over the fingers.